Malachi Fields, you are a New York football giant. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and we are presented by Prize Picks. A shocker of a move for the New York football Giants. They make a blockbuster trade, moving up from selection 105 to get to 74 to select the 6'5" outside contested catch wide receiver out of Notre Dame, Malachi Fields. The Giants gave up a lot. This is not a cheap price to pay to move up. The Giants go from 105 to 74. They attach their 5th round pick this year, and they give up a 2027 4th round pick. I believe that they felt confident in giving up this 4th round pick because they think they are going to get a comp pick for all the free agents that they lost in the 2026 class of free agency, and they think they could get an extra 4th round pick next year. I sure do hope they're right. You don't want to spend money that you do not have. But it was obvious and clear, not only by the package that they gave up to move up for Malachi Fields, but what John Harbaugh just said. Quote, Malachi was the guy we had right at the top of our board from the beginning of the day, talking about round 2. I think Joe Schoen did a great job of understanding the draft and where people value certain players. 6'4.5", 218 pounds, did run a 4.6 40 at the NFL Combine, but the New York Giants said, according to the GPS data that they have, he consistently was clocked at over 21 miles per hour for Notre Dame last year. And when it comes to the gauntlet drill that they run at the Combine, where the player runs horizontally across the field and catches passes from his left and right, he had the 3rd fastest mile per hour time at the Combine at 19.03 miles per hour. That was faster than Jeremy Bernard. That was faster than Skylar Bell, faster than Casey Concepcion, faster than Zachariah Branch. And for comparison, Puka Nacua ran 19.6, Malachi Fields 19.0. So that shows you that he plays faster than he ran in the 40, and the GPS numbers say that as well. A big-bodied wide receiver, long arms, huge catch radius. And when that ball is in the air, it is not a 50-50 ball. It's more like a 60-40 ball. That is where he thrives, and he is a perfect match for Jackson Dart as well. Malachi Fields, this past year for Notre Dame, had an average depth of target close to 18 yards per target. He wants to get the ball thrown to him down the field. Jackson Dart wants to air that piece out. Nobody threw the ball down the field more and at a higher rate than Jackson Dart did last year. And Malachi Fields is the type of receiver that you want on the other end of those deep passes. In 2025, Malachi Fields had a 94.8 deep ball grade as a receiver by PFF. In 2024, it was 93.6. So this is a guy that wants to get behind DBs and make contested catches. And you get a new type of receiver on this team. You've got smaller, shifty, and dynamic guys like Malik Neighbors and Darnell Mooney and Calvin Austin. You've got a field stretcher who needs to catch the football in Darius Slayton. You didn't have a 50-50 contested catch, big body red zone target like Malachi Fields, a really, really good piece to put along Jackson Dart. And I think that he honestly fits what Dart wants to do and the type of receiver that Jackson Dart wants. Dane Brugler of The Athletic says Fields is a big-bodied receiver who presents a large target for his quarterback using his athleticism and catch radius. He has the talent to be a solid number 2 receiving option, and his game closely resembles that of Michael Pittman. There were some mock drafts that had Malachi Fields as a first-round pick prior to running that 4.6 40 at the NFL Combine, but he was, without a doubt, the number 1 wide receiver at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, and Joe Schoen said that was a big point of emphasis in this draft pick. A lot more to talk about Malachi Fields, and we'll recap what the Giants have done throughout the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. First, though, I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor of today's show, and that is Prize picks. If you want to sit on your couch and make some cash while watching some playoff hoops, download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code HMA, and when you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups ASAP instantly. You don't even have to get that $5 lineup correct. All you do is pick more or less on the projected stats that Prize Picks puts for each player. Unfortunately, my lineup did not hit today, but I have used the promo code HMA. That way I got a little extra dollars in my account to place some more lineups. I'm back at it the rest of the NBA playoffs, and you can actually follow me on Prize Picks at Marshall Green _ so you could roll with my picks or fade my picks. Just do it with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code HMA, play your first $5 lineup, and get $50 in lineups instantly. I'm just going to read off a couple of quotes from Joe Schoen and John Harbaugh and what they are saying to the media right now when it comes to Malachi Fields. Joe Schoen says, "We weren't going to force the pick unless the value is at the right spot," talking about trading up. "The catch radius and athleticism that he displays was attractive." John Harbaugh credits Joe Schoen, saying Malachi was a guy that we had at the top of our board from the beginning of the day. So the Giants, they identified a player that they wanted, and Joe Schoen was able to make the trade happen. Sounds like the New York Giants had a second-round draft grade on Malachi Fields, and they've also said that Colton Hood was the best player on their board when they selected him at 37. So you get a player on Colton Hood who I believe you probably had a late first-round grade on. Then you get a player in Malachi Fields in round 3 that you have a round 2 grade on. So the Giants, they obviously like Malachi Fields, and I do like to pick. Let's not forget it is a lot to trade up, but as long as he is productive, no one's going to care about the trade. I'm excited about this selection. So far, the New York Giants have made 4 picks in the 2026 NFL Draft. They select Arvell Reese, the linebacker out of Ohio State, Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle who will switch to guard out of Miami, Colton Hood, the press man corner out of Tennessee, and then Malachi Fields, the big-bodied wide receiver out of Notre Dame. Ryan Dunleavy said, "What did Giant scouts report back to John Harbaugh and Joe Schoen after Notre Dame's Malachi Fields was a stud at the NFL, at the Senior Bowl," I believe is what he meant. Said he was the best receiver down there. So the Giants putting some stock in what went down when it goes to the Senior Bowl as well. See if there's any more juice on the timeline that I can get you guys information for. But overall, this is a guy that can take the top off the defense. Not a blazer, not a burner, but someone that gradually picks up. I mean, he's 6'4" plus. He doesn't have the quickest acceleration, but he is someone that naturally just gets faster as he goes and as he starts to open up. And you can go watch the tape after you watch this video. Like, you just put the ball in his catch radius, and he can go and get it at spots that DBs just cannot do it. It's the classic, yeah, I look like I'm guarded, but I'm not guarded. Just put it on the top shelf where the little kids can't get it and where the big dogs eat. So the Giants get Jackson Dart a weapon. They get Jackson Dart an offensive lineman. They add a linebacker on Arvell Reese that they really like a whole lot. And you get a corner in Colton Hood that I think can start early for you. I've actually liked what the Giants have done, probably a little bit more on. That's not true. I like to pick a Francis Mauigoa a lot. I gave it a B+. I really like to pick Colton Hood. I like the player, Malachi Fields. A little bit worried about the price, but just he needs to produce, and then we're good on that front. You need this guy to reach his potential, because that's what matters. He has to continue to get better, and the Giants have to coach him up. It's on the Giants more so than Arvell Reese to put this guy in position, coach him up, and make him a successful player. He's got all the potential, athletic ability, size, strength, and all that to do it, but he is a little bit of a project, in my opinion, and that's why ultimately I didn't love the pick at 5, but I understand why people view him as arguably the best player in this class. So your 4 picks in the first 2 days. Grade the pick of Malachi Fields. I haven't asked you guys to do that. Grade the pick of Malachi Fields. I want to hear from all of you in the comment section, ABCDRF, and make sure you are following me on social media. You can find me on Twitter, and you can find me on Instagram at @MarshallGreen_.